Hello, Primary 4. Welcome back in the second term, and today we are going to start the first lesson in science, and it's called the Human Digestive System. The human digestive system is one of the important systems in the body. But before we understand the structure and the function of that system and how does it work, we have to remember some facts that we studied before. We all know that there are living and non-living things around us. What are the properties that characterizes the living things? The living things are characterized by nutrition, growth, excretion, sensation, motion, reproduction, and breathing or respiration. Nutrition means that those living things needs to get food to eat, okay? And also they are characterized by the growth, which means that the life of the living things starts with the new ones, and as time passes they grow up into bigger ones. Since the living organisms feed or eat, they have to excrete. To excrete means to get rid of the waste of the body, whether in the form of urine or sweat or other substances. Sensation. Sensation means feeling. The living things can feel happiness, sadness, fear, hunger, or pain. Motion. Motion means that the living organisms are able to move or change their positions. And reproduction. Reproduction means that the parents of the living organisms can produce or give birth to little ones which are similar to the parents. Respiration or breathing means that these living things have to get the oxygen from the air to help them to stay alive. What about the structure of the living organism's body? The smallest part or the smallest unit that builds the body of a living organism is called a cell. The cell is very small. It can't do any function for the body. A group of cells together, they form something bigger called a tissue. But the tissue still can't do any job or any function. So a group of tissues, they together form something bigger called an organ. Now the organ can make a function, but a group of organs, they help each other to make a complete function. The group of organs form something bigger called the system. Now the system can make a complete function, but each system has its own function. The human body is formed of a group of systems, and each system has a certain function to do to help the body to stay alive. Again, what is the smallest building unit of any living organism body? It's called the cell. And the group of cells form tissues, group of tissues form organ, group of organs form system, and the body is made up of many systems. So there are many systems in your body. For example, the digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, urinary system, nervous system, and reproductive system. This year or this term, we are going to study the digestive system in this lesson, and the next lesson will be about the respiratory system. Can the digestive system make the function of the respiratory system? No. Each system has its own job or a certain function to do. What is the function of the digestive system? It helps us to digest or break the food that we eat, and also it helps the food to be absorbed to reach all the body parts. What is the function of the respiratory system? It's the system responsible for the breathing process and taking oxygen from the air. The circulatory system is the transport system that carries all the important substances like the food and the oxygen and take it to all the body parts to get the benefit from it. The urinary system. The urinary system helps the body to get rid of the waste materials that are harmful for the body and the body doesn't need. What about the nervous system? The nervous system is a controlling system that controls all the functions of the body, and it's also responsible for feeling, and all the sense organs in your body are controlled by the nervous system, like vision, smelling, tasting, touching, and hearing. Finally, the reproductive system, it helps to produce new individuals that are similar to the parents. Now, let's start talking about the digestive system. What is the function of the digestive system? We said that the digestive system helps in the digestion and absorption of food. All the living organisms, they eat food, but this food has to be broken down or digested inside the digestive system, and then after it's digested, it has to be absorbed by the blood to go everywhere in the body. The function of the digestive system is digestion of food and also absorption of food. So what happens to the food that we eat? If you are eating any kind of food or any meal, for example, bread or rice or meat or any kind of food, this food that you are eating is present in a complex form or a big form. The body can't use it that way. It has to change it first and break it down into something smaller or simpler so the body will be able to use it and benefit from it. Benefit from it means that to take change it into energy, because we eat to get the energy. This change of food or this breakdown of food from complex form to simple form is known as the digestion process. So what is the digestion process? It is the change of food or the breakdown of food from the complex form to the simpler form. Okay, this happens inside the digestive system. Why? To help the body to benefit from the food and get the energy it needs. What about the absorption process? We said after the digestion process comes the absorption. After the food is completely digested, it has to transfer or move from the digestive system and go outside the digestive system to all the body parts. The blood absorbs or takes the digested food and send it to all the body parts to get the benefit. What happens to the food that we eat? To understand the journey of the food inside your digestive system and what is happening inside each of the organs of the digestive system, you have to know first the structure of the digestive system. Remember, we said that any system is a group of what? Any system is a group of organs. The digestive system consists of some organs. They are classified as the digestive canal and the digestive supplementaries. The digestive canal starts with the mouth, then the pharynx, then esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. Most of the organs of the digestive canal, they lie here in this part of the body known as the abdominal cavity. There are some digestive canal supplementaries that help in the digestion process by secreting juices. They are the salivary glands, the liver, and the pancreas. Now let's see the structure of the digestive system. The digestive system starts with the mouth. So what is the first organ in the digestive system? It's the mouth. After the mouth comes the pharynx. Here is the pharynx, here, the back of your throat. It's a cavity called pharynx that leads to a long tube or pipe known as the esophagus. The esophagus leads to an organ looks like a sac, and it's called stomach. After the stomach comes the small intestine, followed by the large intestine, then here the rectum, and finally an opening known as anus. This is the last organ in the digestive system. So the digestive system starts with the mouth and ends with the anus. Okay, here are the digestive canal supplementaries, which are the liver, pancreas, and salivary glands. The salivary glands are present here in the mouth. So what happens when you eat the food? When you take the first bite of the food by your mouth, the digestion process starts. So the first stage, or the first organ that undergoes the digestion, is the mouth. Then the food passes to the, what's the organ after the mouth? It's the pharynx. After the pharynx, the food will go down through the tube known as esophagus. Then the food goes to the stomach. After the stomach, do you remember? The organ after the stomach is the small intestine. Good. After the small intestine comes the large intestine, then the rectum, and finally the anus. Remember, the digested food is going to be absorbed or taken from the digestive system, while the food remains, or the wastes, will go outside the body through an opening known as anus. Now let's talk about the first organ in the digestive system, and it's the mouth. The mouth is a cavity. It's a hollow place that contains teeth, tongue, and salivary glands. First, the teeth. How many teeth is present in the adult mouth? There are 32 teeth in the adult's mouth, 16 in the upper jaw, and 16 in the lower jaw. So the teeth are arranged in two jaws, upper jaw and lower jaw. Each jaw contains 16 teeth, so that the total number of teeth is 32. There are different shapes of the teeth, and each shape has a function. The first type of teeth is the incisors. As you can see in the picture, the incisors are large teeth. They are front teeth that can cut the food into smaller pieces. How many incisors do we have? We have 4 incisors in the upper jaw and 4 in the lower jaw. Let's count. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 incisors in each jaw. Okay? The second type of teeth is the canines. The canines are sharp teeth present at the two sides of the incisors, and they can cut and tear the food much more than the incisors because they are sharp. So what's the function of the incisors and the canines? Cutting and tearing the food into smaller pieces. Okay, so how many canines do we have? We have 2 canines in each jaw. The third type of teeth is the molars. The molars are large and strong teeth. As you can see here, how many molars do we have? We have 10 in each jaw. 10 molars in each jaw. 5 in the right and 5 in the left. Okay, they are 10. They are strong teeth that can grind and smash the food into very, very small pieces. So again, how many teeth are there in each jaw of the mouth? We have 10 molars, 4 incisors, and 2 canines. They are 16. 16 up in the upper jaw, 16 down. So all of them together are 32 teeth. Okay, but this is the number of teeth in the adult person or a grown-up person. But in children, there are only 20 teeth in their mouth, 10 in each jaw. These teeth are weak and they are called milk teeth. These teeth will be replaced as the children grow up. Also in the mouth there is the tongue. The tongue is a strong muscle that is able to turn the food, as you can see, up and down inside your mouth to mix it with a liquid called saliva. This liquid called saliva helps the food to become moist or wet to help us to swallow it. Also, the tongue is the organ that's responsible for tasting the food. So the tongue has two functions: turning the food in the mouth to mix it with saliva, and also it helps in tasting the food. Salivary glands. Salivary glands are digestive supplementaries, which means they can secrete juices to help in the digestion process. We have three pairs of salivary glands in the mouth. They secrete a juice known as saliva. This saliva contains digestive enzymes, which means they are substances which are able to break down the complex food into simple ones. The saliva can change the starch if you are eating a food type starch. It's a complex type of food. This saliva or the digestive enzymes in the saliva will change or convert this starch into simple sugar. So the digestion of starch starts in the mouth by the help of the saliva. After the food is cut down by the act of the teeth inside the mouth and it's mixed with the saliva by the help of the tongue, now the food will pass to the pharynx. Here is the pharynx. As you can see, the pharynx, it's a cavity that leads to two pathways or two tubes. The back one is called the esophagus, and this belongs to the digestive system, and the front one is called the trachea, and this belongs to the respiratory system that we are going to study in the next lesson. So the pharynx is a common cavity. It leads to two pathways or two tubes of different systems. So what is the function of the pharynx? The pharynx helps to take food or to pass food from the mouth to the esophagus. The esophagus is a muscular long tube in which the food passes down from the pharynx to the stomach. This is the stomach. As you can see, it's present in the abdominal cavity. The stomach secretes a juice known as the gastric juice. The gastric juice also contains digestive enzymes, which are able to break or that digest another type of food called protein. But the protein is incompletely digested in the stomach. It's partially digested, not completely digested in the stomach, which means that the protein will continue its digestion later on in the small intestine. So, what is the name of the juice secreted by the stomach? It's gastric juice. And this gastric juice is able to digest or break down what? Which type of food? Proteins. Does the protein change or break down completely in the stomach? No, incompletely digested, and it will continue its digestion in the small intestine. After the food leaves the stomach, it reaches the small intestine. The small intestine is the longest part in the digestive system. It's very long. It reaches 7 meters long. There are two functions for the small intestine. First, it completes the digestion of the different types of food due to the presence of many juices that are poured in the small intestine. And the second function of the small intestine is the absorption of the digested food. Since the food is completely digested here, it is absorbed here in the small intestine. The small intestine consists of two parts. The first one is the duodenum and the second one is the ileum. The duodenum here, the duodenum is the part of the small intestine where some juices are poured. Do you remember the digestive canal supplementaries? The liver and the pancreas? They secrete juices in the duodenum that help in the digestion process. The liver secretes a juice known as the bile juice, while the pancreas secretes another juice called the pancreatic juice. What is the function of the bile juice? It can digest or break down fats and change it into fatty emulsion. So again, what are the juices that are poured in the duodenum? They are pancreatic juice and bile juice. The bile juice is secreted by the liver, while the pancreatic juice is secreted by the pancreas. What is the function of the bile juice? It helps in the digestion of fats and its change into fatty emulsion. Now, after the food passes from the duodenum to the ileum, another juice is poured in the ileum known as the intestinal juice. This intestinal juice completes the digestion of different types of food. And the ileum is the place where the digested food is absorbed to go to the other parts of the body. Here we have an activity to show the function of the bile juice. We said that the bile juice helps in the digestion of fats into fatty emulsion. Okay, we will make an activity. We will bring a tube containing water and add some oil drops to it. Shake the tube very well. You notice that the oil and the water do not mix together. But if we added some drops of bile juice brought from the liver of a bird, like a hen, then try to shake it one more time. In this case, you will notice that the oil and the water mix together because the bile juice that we added changes the fats of the oil into smaller particles that dissolve it in the water and form the fatty emulsion. After the food is completely digested in the small intestine, the digested food, as we said, is going to be absorbed by the blood to reach all the body parts. What about the undigested food that couldn't be digested? Still big, still complex. Can the blood absorb it? No. It will stay in the digestive system. It reaches the large intestine to be stored there for a while until it's time to get out of the body. So here the food remains means the undigested food that couldn't be digested. Here it stays for some hours in the large intestine, then it passes to the rectum. What is the function of the rectum? The rectum absorbs the water from this undigested food or from the food remains because we don't want to lose the water. The water is very important for the body and helps in all the body processes. So before we eject the waste out or the food remains outside the body, we take all the water from it. That's why the stool is hard, because all the water was absorbed in the rectum. Finally, the food remains or this waste will get outside the body through an opening called anus. The anus is the last part in the digestive system. So the digestive system starts by which organ? The mouth, while it ends by the anus. Now let's see how can we keep our digestive system healthy. We have to chew the food very well with the teeth before swallowing. We should not buy food from the street sellers to avoid any infection with diseases. The food you buy from the street is not clean and full of bacteria, and it may cause serious diseases to the digestive system. Also, we should not eat food that contains much fat, like the junk food or the fast meals. Okay? Try to avoid the food containing color and flavor additives. Additives are substances that we add to the food to give it a good taste and nice colors. And finally, practice sports regularly to keep your body healthy. Now let's try to answer some questions. Choose the correct answer. Number 1. The number of teeth in an adult is space in each jaw. What is the number of teeth in each jaw? Is it 16 or 32? The total number of teeth in both jaws is 32, but each jaw contains only 16 teeth. Okay. Number 2. The organ that mixes food with saliva and helps in tasting food is what? What is the organ that tastes the food and makes it with saliva before swallowing? It's the tongue. Number 3. Digestion of starch starts by what? What is the name of the juice that helps to digest starch, to break it down into sugars? It's the saliva, and this happens inside the mouth. Number 4. Digestion of proteins starts in what? What is the organ where the digestion of proteins starts? Is it the mouth? No. The mouth is the organ where the digestion of starch starts. But the protein starts its digestion inside the stomach, very good, by the help of the gastric juice. Number 5. Digestion of fats occur by what? What is the name of the juice that changes or breaks down the fat and changes it into fatty emulsion? It's the gastric juice or bile juice or saliva? It's bile juice secreted by the liver. Now we reached the end of the lesson. I want to thank you for your good listening, and I hope that you understand the lesson well. Thank you and goodbye.